Of course, all eyes at the moment, certainly when it comes to football fans, are on the Bundesliga, because it seems they are the more likely to return to action ahead of anybody else at the moment. Gab, Marcotti and Julien are on with us. Gab, obviously there was that meeting today with the German government. What do we learn?
So yeah, the German Chancellor Angela Merkel meeting with the prime ministers of the 16 German states. And effectively what we learned today is that this decision's been pushed down the road to next Wednesday. What's come out of the meeting is that they had other priorities to deal with, frankly, and they're going to look at this further on. They're going to get more information in. I think at this stage the consensus seems to be the best case scenario is a start on May 23rd, possibly May 16th. But as I said, there is no green light, and there will be no green light until next Wednesday at the earliest.
Jules, obviously not what we were hoping to hear.
You're right. We said with Gab this morning as well when we recorded the podcast how big a day this could be, because, like you said, everybody had their eyes on Germany, the ones who want football to resume, hoping that they get the green light for the Bundesliga to start again as early as early May as well, and the others who are not so keen on football resuming, like President Macron, for example, who is calling everyone in Europe to do the same as in France, were maybe hoping for the opposite. And right now, I think Angela Merkel bought a bit of time, more time to make a stronger protocol maybe, or look at more options and what they could do better to make sure that football resumes if that's really what they want. But it's a bit of a disappointment, just in the sense that we thought we would have a better idea of when we finally could see some football back in Europe.
Meanwhile, of course, as we reported earlier this week, the French season is over. Here are the results of the meeting today. The LFP have decided to leave Ligue 1, Ligue 2 tables as they stand after the last match was played. So, PSG to be named Ligue 1 champions, Marseille to qualify for the Champions League group stage, Rennes to join the competition in the third qualifying round, Toulouse and Amiens to be relegated to Ligue 2, Lorient and Lens to be promoted up into the top division. Jules, how has this been received in France?
Well, it got a bit messy, as you would imagine, because each owner or president or CEO was fighting their corners, and rightly so, trying to get the best outcome possible for their clubs. And you think if you're Toulouse and you're bottom of the table with 13 points, you won 3 games in the whole season, or 3 quarters that we played, and you're still trying to escape from relegation. This is a bit pushy, but that's what they did. And so with Lyon, who were desperate to go into Europe, and I think in the end, people found a consensus is that it's fair in a way to stop at the last table. They did also a ratio of points won per game to make sure that it was as fair as possible in the current circumstances. And I think in the end, there might be a few legal actions or start of legal actions, but in the end, I don't think anything will change. That's what the Federation and the League have decided. They voted for that, they went for it. And in fairness, when you've played 3/4 of a season, that's probably the right decision to make in the end.
You're comfortable with the decision then, Jules?
Yes, I am. I think it was the right decision to stop the season where it stopped and not to resume because it was not safe enough. And 2, if that's what you've decided, more than have a blank season or a voided season and not give a winner and a champions or no relegation or promotion, I think the best decision, the best answer was what they did.
Gab, you comfortable with this decision?
I'm super comfortable with this decision, not least because, as Jules told us on the podcast this morning, those were the regulations in the league before it started. But I'll go further. I'm comfortable with other leagues sitting down and working things out, and where appropriate. In Holland, they decided to go and put this to a vote, whether there should be a champion, whether there should not be a champion. Obviously, you had 2 teams level on points there. I think sitting here squabbling about money and relegation and should they be recognized as champions? No, they shouldn't. You can reach solutions when it comes to money. You can rejigger the way teams are compensated next season. You can share out prize money. You can find solutions there. The rest of it, prestige, did we finish 5th or 8th? Frankly, given the current circumstances, I kind of feel like saying, who cares? Grow up, leave your asterisk to one side, and show some leadership and find a solution, because there are far more important things to sort out right now.
Before I let you go, Gab, I want to ask you about what's going on in Italy, because there seems to be somewhat of a conflict about when players can get back to training.
It's one of the many things which hasn't been resolved yet. They were hoping that they could go back to training on May 4th. At the time being, now it doesn't look like it's going to happen. They're working on a new protocol. If that gets the green light, the government saying that they're open to them returning to training on May 18th. Obviously, we just keep pushing this further and further down the road.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.